Did you know that many older adults have no idea where their body odor is really coming from? You might shower every day, wear clean clothes, and still notice a lingering scent that just won't go away, one that others might notice before you do. The truth is, as we age, our hygiene routines often stay the same, but our bodies change. Skin becomes thinner, folds deepen, and certain areas become harder to reach or easier to overlook. While most of us focus on the obvious spots like underarms, feet, and private areas, there are several hidden places on the body where sweat oils and bacteria quietly build up. Left unwashed, they become tiny odor factories that affect how fresh we feel and how others experience being around us. This isn't about shame, it's about awareness and dignity. In this video, we'll uncover 5 commonly missed spots on the body that are responsible for most of the odor people notice in older adults, and we'll show you exactly how to care for them gently, safely, and effectively. So if you've ever wondered why you sometimes feel clean but still smell off, stay with me until the end, because one of these spots is likely being skipped every time you shower, and fixing it could change how you feel in your own skin every day. Let's start with one of the most private, yet most overlooked areas of the body, the fold between your groin and the top of your thigh. It's a warm, tight crease tucked away under clothing for most of the day where your upper legs meet your torso. And because it's rarely talked about even in private, many older adults don't realize how much sweat oil and dead skin can silently collect there over time. As we get older, our skin naturally becomes thinner, softer, and more prone to deep folds. Combine that with less movement, tighter undergarments, and synthetic fabrics that trap heat, and you've got a recipe for something unpleasant, a quiet hidden space where odor and irritation can easily take root. The truth is, most people are diligent about washing their armpits, their private parts, and their feet. But they unintentionally skip over the actual fold at the top of the leg, the exact spot where moisture builds up the most. That's where the real issue begins. It's not about being dirty. It's about not realizing that this particular crease needs its own attention. Soap running down in the shower doesn't get the job done here, and neither does a quick rinse. Take someone like George, age 75. He's a retired mail carrier known in his neighborhood for being well-kept, polite, and always sharply dressed. George takes pride in staying clean. He showers every morning, keeps his beard trimmed, and never wears the same shirt twice in a row. But over the last few months, he's been dealing with something frustrating and, frankly, embarrassing. A sour body odor that seems to show up by mid-afternoon no matter what he does. At first, George assumed it was his laundry, so he switched detergents. Then he tried new soap's extra-strength, antibacterial, heavily scented bars that promised 24-hour protection. Still, the smell persisted. He changed his deodorant. He began taking showers in the evening, too. But by the next day, the odor would creep back again, sharpest around his waistline, especially after sitting for a while. George started to avoid social gatherings, church groups, even lunch with his daughter. He felt ashamed. "I've never been a smelly man," he told himself. "So what's happening to me?" It wasn't until his annual checkup, when his doctor gently asked about his hygiene routine, that the problem came to light. George explained his habits in detail, how he washed where he focused, and what products he used. That's when the doctor kindly pointed out, "You're doing a great job overall, George, but you might be missing the fold at the top of your thighs, the crease where your legs meet your groin." George was surprised. That area, he had always assumed it got clean just from the water and soap running down. But it didn't. And over time, that fold had become a little red, a little damp, and a lot smellier than he realized. Once George understood, he made a small but powerful change. He began using a soft washcloth and a mild, unscented soap to gently cleanse that area on both sides every morning. No scrubbing, no harsh products, just a few extra seconds of care. And after rinsing, he made sure to pat the area completely dry with a towel, even using a hand mirror to help if needed. Within just a few days, the difference was night and day. The odor disappeared, the redness faded, and perhaps most important of all, George felt like himself again, fresh, clean, and confident. This area doesn't require harsh scrubbing. In fact, older skin can be easily irritated by too much friction. Instead, think of it as a delicate fold that simply needs gentle daily care. A soft washcloth, warm water, and a gentle soap are enough. Make sure to rinse thoroughly and dry the area well afterward. For those who tend to sweat more or wear snug clothing, a light talc-free powder or breathable cotton fabric can help keep moisture at bay and reduce friction throughout the day. Why is this so important? Because odor isn't just a hygiene issue, it's a confidence issue. When you take care of these hidden folds, you don't just smell better, you feel better. You carry yourself differently. You sit closer to others without hesitation. You stop worrying about the invisible things that might be holding you back. And in this stage of life, that matters more than ever. So take a moment tomorrow morning, just an extra minute in your routine to check in with this part of your body. Reach gently. Clean gently, dry gently. It may be a small act, but it can restore a big part of your comfort and dignity. Because caring for the parts we can't see is a powerful way to say, I still value myself. I still deserve to feel my best. And that's a truth worth honoring every single day. Now let's turn our attention to another small but surprisingly impactful area, your belly button and the soft crease of skin just beneath it. It might seem like a place that stays clean on its own. After all, water flows over it in the shower, right? But in reality, this tiny pocket at the center of your abdomen can quietly collect sweat oils, lint, and even leftover soap, especially if it's deep, slightly closed in shape, or surrounded by looser skin. That's more common with age. Many people, particularly those over 60, never give their navel a second thought. It's not something we talk about in daily conversation, and unless it's causing pain or visible irritation, it's easy to forget it exists. But this small area left untouched can become a breeding ground for odor-causing bacteria and yeast, triggering not only smells, but discomfort, redness, or even infection if left unchecked. Just like the fold in the groin, the navel doesn't magically clean itself. It needs a little attention, and once you give it that, the results can be surprisingly refreshing. Let me introduce you to Carol, age 70, a retired school librarian with an eye for detail. She kept her home spotless, always dressed neatly, and had a morning routine that would put most of us to shame. Shower moisturizer, fresh clothes, every single day. Yet despite all of this, Carol began noticing something strange, a faint sour smell that seemed to follow her throughout the day. It wasn't overwhelming, but it made her feel uncomfortable, especially when bending down or changing clothes. She assumed it was her underarms, so she switched deodorants. Then she blamed her feet and started soaking them regularly. When the smell persisted, she tried changing her detergent, her body wash, even her diet, but nothing helped. It wasn't until a routine doctor's visit, when her nurse helped her change into a gown, that someone gently pointed it out. Carol, there's a little redness under your belly button. Do you clean that area regularly? Carol blinked. You mean my actual belly button? She asked. I haven't done that since, well, I don't remember when. And that's exactly the issue. Like many people her age, Carol had always assumed that water and soap naturally took care of her navel. But that tiny, tucked-in space had slowly been collecting debris for years. Sweat oils, tiny fibers from clothing, and now it was causing a musty smell and irritation she couldn't explain. The nurse recommended something simple but powerful. Once a day after her shower, Carol would use her fingertip wrapped in a soft washcloth to gently clean her navel with warm water and a mild fragrance-free soap. No digging or scrubbing, just a gentle wipe. She followed up by rinsing it carefully and patting the entire area completely dry, including the shallow fold just beneath it, where sagging skin had created a new pocket for moisture to gather. Within a week, the odor was gone. The redness faded. And more than anything, Carol felt relieved. She had spent weeks feeling embarrassed, even questioning whether her hygiene was slipping. But now, with just one small change in her routine, she felt restored both physically and emotionally. The lesson here is simple. Your belly button, no matter how small, flat, or hidden, needs direct care. And as we get older, our midsections often develop deeper creases where sweat and moisture can settle throughout the day, especially in warmer weather or when wearing fitted clothing that doesn't breathe well. Ignoring this area doesn't mean you're unclean. It just means you're human. But taking that extra moment each day to gently clean and dry this space can have a big impact on your comfort, your confidence, and your overall well-being. If your belly button is particularly deep or sensitive, you can use a clean cotton swab dipped in warm water to softly wipe around the inside edge. Just be gentle. Older skin is more delicate, and this isn't a place to scrub hard. Afterward, make sure it's dry. Moisture is the enemy here, especially if you live in a humid climate or tend to sweat around your midsection. For added comfort, especially during hot months, a light dusting of talc-free body powder or a moisture-absorbing cream can help keep the area fresh and dry throughout the day. What's most important is not just the act of cleaning, but the message it sends. When you care for the parts of your body that are easy to overlook, you send a signal to yourself: I matter. My comfort matters. My presence in the world deserves attention. These small habits practiced daily add up to something much larger than hygiene. They restore your relationship with your body. They strengthen your self-respect, and they help you show up in the world with quiet confidence. So tomorrow, when you're finishing your shower or getting dressed, take a few seconds to care for your belly button and the crease below it. It may be a small step, but it can change the way you feel for the rest of the day. Because sometimes the smallest places on our body hold the biggest impact on how we carry ourselves. And you deserve to feel clean, comfortable, and confident every single day. Now, let's move just a little higher to a spot most of us never think about when we shower or get ready for the day: the folds behind your ears. It's such a small, tucked-away place that it often gets completely forgotten during our daily hygiene routine. But believe it or not, this little crease right where the ear meets the side of your head and neck is one of the most common sources of body odor, especially in older adults. It's easy to miss. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't itch. And for many people, especially those who wear glasses or hearing aids, the area behind the ear becomes a hidden pocket for sweat oil and dead skin. When left unclean, that mix creates an environment where bacteria thrive, leading to that all-too-familiar, musty, sour smell that no amount of perfume can hide. As we age, our skin doesn't exfoliate the way it used to. Oil glands slow down or change sweat evaporates more slowly, and any small area where air doesn't circulate well, like behind your ears, can easily start to smell. Now add something like a pair of glasses or hearing aids, and the problem compounds. These devices press against the skin trap heat and moisture and block airflow. That means whatever ends up behind your ears, whether it's old sweat shampoo residue or just everyday skin oils, stays there longer. Let me tell you about Walter, age 82, a proud Korean War veteran and former high school principal. Walter is a man who always took pride in his appearance. He wore a crisp shirt every morning, shined his shoes even in retirement, and never left the house without his silver-rimmed glasses. But over the last year, his granddaughter, who often came by to help him with errands, noticed something different. Every time she hugged him or leaned in to help adjust his hearing aids, there was a strong, musty odor coming from around his head. At first, she thought maybe it was just his shampoo or that he had missed a spot shaving. But the smell was persistent and a little sour. She didn't want to embarrass him, so she quietly mentioned it to his home care nurse during a regular visit. The nurse was gentle and respectful, asking Walter if he had noticed any irritation or discomfort behind his ears. Walter was puzzled. "Behind my ears," he said. "Why would I need to clean back there?" And that's exactly the point. Walter, like many older men, had never once thought about washing the area behind his ears. As a child, he was taught to wash his face, his neck, and his body, but that tiny fold behind the ear never made it into his routine. And now, with glasses resting there every day and hearing aids covering the area, it had become a perfect trap for odor. The nurse showed him how to clean it: just a soft washcloth with warm water and a gentle soap used to wipe the crease gently during his shower. She also reminded him to rinse thoroughly, since leftover soap can dry out the skin or cause flaking, and to pat the area dry afterward. For Walter, it took a few days of getting used to. He had to remove his hearing aids during his shower and make a point to reach back there intentionally, which didn't come naturally at first. But within a week, the smell was gone. His granddaughter noticed right away. "You smell like Grandpa again," she said with a smile, and that simple comment meant the world to him. It made him feel dignified again. Seen. Fresh. The folds behind your ears may be small, but they're worth your time. Whether or not you wear glasses or hearing aids, that area collects sweat dust and oils just like anywhere else on your body. And because it's often warm and pressed against your skin, it can quickly develop an odor that's hard to ignore, especially for those close to you. The fix is simple, but it needs to be consistent. Every day when you shower or wash your face, take a few extra seconds to clean behind each ear. Use your fingertips or a soft cloth, nothing rough, and gently wipe the area. Be sure to rinse well and dry completely, since moisture can linger in that fold and cause irritation. For those who do wear hearing aids, it's also a good idea to regularly wipe down the parts of the device that come into contact with your skin following the manufacturer's care instructions. This helps prevent bacteria from transferring between your device and your skin. If your skin tends to dry out in that area, you can apply a small amount of unscented moisturizer, just a dab, to keep it comfortable. What matters most is the habit. By adding this simple step to your daily hygiene, you can prevent odor, avoid irritation, and feel more confident, especially during those close moments with family, friends, or caregivers. Because the truth is, cleanliness isn't just about how we feel, it's about how we connect with others. When you feel fresh, you're more likely to welcome a hug, lean in for a conversation, or accept help without hesitation. And those moments of closeness, they matter more than ever as we age. So, tomorrow morning, as you stand at the sink or step into the shower, don't forget that little spot behind your ears. It may seem small, but it makes a big difference. Clean gently, rinse well, pat dry, and step into your day, knowing that you've cared for yourself fully, head to toe. Because when you honor even the smallest parts of your body, you're honoring all of you. And you deserve that, every single day. Let's move down the body now to another often forgotten area that plays a surprisingly large role in your daily comfort, the soft fold behind your knees. It might sound unimportant at first, but this area where your leg bends and touches itself is one of the most overlooked spots when it comes to personal hygiene, especially in older adults. Think about it. This crease stays folded for hours at a time while sitting, walking, or lying down. It doesn't get a lot of air circulation. It's frequently covered by pants or socks, and it's rarely touched directly when bathing. And yet it collects sweat, heat, dead skin cells, and even leftover soap residue from the shower. That combination creates a moist, warm environment, exactly what bacteria and fungi need to thrive. And the result? A persistent odor irritation, and in some cases, a red, itchy rash that keeps coming back no matter how many creams or powders you try. This is especially true for anyone who spends long periods sitting, has mobility issues, or tends to sweat more due to medications, weight gain, or warm climates. Let's take Jim, 72 years old, a retired accountant who lives alone and still keeps a steady routine. He showers every day, wears clean clothes, and takes his morning walks religiously. But for the past few months, Jim has noticed something that's been bothering him. After sitting at the kitchen table or watching TV for a while, he starts to feel a sticky sensation behind his knees, almost like sweat that won't go away. At first, he ignored it, but then a faint odor began to follow him, and no matter how often he changed his pants or used body spray, the smell remained. He assumed it was just getting older, maybe a normal part of aging, but it started to affect his confidence. He stopped sitting too close to others during card games at the senior center. He hesitated before hugging his grandchildren, and he became increasingly self-conscious even though no one had said anything directly. Meanwhile, across town, Alice, 76, who struggles with arthritis in her lower back, had a similar issue, but her story took a different turn. After several days of noticing redness and itchiness behind her knees, she brought it up with her doctor. The doctor asked about her hygiene routine and gently explained that the folds behind the knees, though easy to forget, need specific attention, especially in older adults whose skin becomes more prone to moisture-related issues. Alice admitted she'd never really washed that area intentionally. "I figured the water from my shower took care of it," she said. But it wasn't enough. That small closed-off fold needed to be cleaned directly, gently dried, and kept cool throughout the day. Alice took the advice to heart. She began washing behind her knees every morning with a soft cloth and mild soap, making sure to rinse thoroughly and then pat the area dry with a clean towel. She even added a little talc-free powder on warmer days to help absorb moisture when she knew she'd be sitting for long stretches. Within a week, the irritation was gone, and the musty odor she hadn't even realized was coming from that area had disappeared. Her confidence returned, and so did her comfort. Meanwhile, Jim continued to struggle until one afternoon when his daughter, visiting for the weekend, gently asked if he was feeling okay. "You seem kind of distant lately, Dad," she said. "Is something bothering you?" That's when Jim opened up about the odor and discomfort he'd been noticing. She encouraged him to see his doctor, and, just like Alice, he was surprised to learn that the area behind his knees had simply been missed in his routine. After incorporating the same gentle cleansing and drying techniques, Jim saw a dramatic improvement. The odor vanished, the stickiness disappeared, and he felt like he could finally relax again close to others without anxiety. The key here is simple. The folds behind your knees may be small, but they can have a big impact on your quality of life. When left unwashed, they trap sweat and bacteria. But with just a few extra seconds during your shower, using a soft washcloth or even your hand, you can gently clean the area, rinse away residue, and prevent buildup. After bathing, it's equally important to dry the area thoroughly. Moisture is the enemy here, especially if your skin is already sensitive or prone to irritation. A light talc-free body powder or a moisture-absorbing cream can help keep the area dry throughout the day. If you have trouble reaching the area due to mobility issues, don't be afraid to ask for help from a caregiver or family member. Or use a long-handled sponge made for seniors. There are plenty of simple tools that can help you care for your body fully, even when flexibility becomes a challenge. What matters most is not just cleanliness, but the comfort and peace of mind that comes with knowing your body is cared for. By giving a little attention to the folds behind your knees each day, you'll prevent irritation, feel fresher, and gain back a quiet confidence that allows you to move through the world freely, whether it's joining friends for lunch or relaxing on your favorite chair without worry. And at this stage in life, you've earned that comfort. You've earned the right to feel clean, confident, and completely yourself from head to toe. Finally, let's talk about one of the most important yet most neglected areas when it comes to hygiene. The folds beneath your feet, especially the spaces between your toes. This area often gets forgotten, not because we don't care, but because it's physically harder to reach as we age. Bending over, balancing on one foot, or reaching past a stiff knee or aching hip can make it challenging to clean and dry this part of the body properly. And yet the spaces between our toes are among the most vulnerable to odor, fungal infections, and moisture-related skin problems. Why? Because these little crevices trap sweat, collect dead skin, and stay dark and damp, exactly the kind of environment bacteria and fungus love. Even worse, if soap or water is left behind and not properly rinsed or dried, it can actually make things worse. Let me introduce Frank, a 78-year-old retiree who prided himself on being meticulous. He lived alone but kept his home spotless, polished his shoes every Sunday, and took daily walks around the neighborhood. Frank was the kind of man who never skipped a shower, changed his socks daily, and even used foot powder. But lately, he had noticed something unsettling, a strong, sour smell coming from his feet even right after bathing. At first, he thought maybe it was just his shoes, so he bought new ones. Then he changed his socks twice a day. Still, the odor persisted. It bothered him deeply. He stopped taking his shoes off when visitors came. He hesitated to put his feet up while watching TV with friends. It wasn't until a regular checkup that he finally mentioned it to his doctor. The doctor asked a simple but telling question. "Do you clean between your toes when you shower?" Frank paused. He had never really thought about it. He assumed that water and soap simply running over his feet was enough, and since he used foot powder afterward, he figured he was doing everything right. But that small oversight, skipping the delicate spaces between his toes, was the exact reason the odor wouldn't go away. His doctor explained that the skin between the toes is thinner and more prone to holding moisture. Without direct cleaning and thorough drying, sweat and skin oils get trapped there, feeding bacteria and causing a strong, lingering smell. Frank left that appointment with a clear action plan. He bought a soft bristled foot brush with a long handle specifically designed for people who have trouble bending. He also started sitting on a shower bench to make foot care easier and safer. Every day he began gently brushing between his toes with warm water and mild soap, rinsing thoroughly and drying the area with a soft towel, using a hairdryer on low heat for the final touch if needed. The result, within a week, the odor was gone. Frank couldn't believe how such a small area had made such a big difference. He felt fresher, lighter, and more confident, no longer dreading the moment when he'd have to take off his shoes or stretch out his legs. And more importantly, he realized something profound. Taking care of your feet isn't just about hygiene, it's about dignity, independence, and peace of mind. For many older adults, mobility challenges make it tempting to skip this step, but there are plenty of simple tools to make it easier. Long-handled sponges, flexible foot scrubbers, soft towels with grip loops, or even asking a trusted caregiver to assist. If moisture remains a problem, especially in warmer climates or during the summer months, a talc-free foot powder or a medicated antifungal powder can help keep the area dry and protected. And if you notice peeling skin redness or persistent itching between the toes, it's important to check with a doctor. It could be a fungal infection, like athlete's foot, which is extremely common but very treatable. The key is consistency. Cleaning between the toes doesn't require much time, but it requires daily attention, just like brushing your teeth or washing your face. And the impact it has on your confidence, comfort, and health is far greater than most people realize. When your feet feel clean and fresh, you move more freely. You walk without worrying who might notice a smell. You stretch, relax, and live your day without the burden of hidden discomfort. So tomorrow morning, take that extra minute for your feet. Sit down if you need to. Use tools that make the job easier. Gently clean between each toe, dry thoroughly, and protect the area if you're prone to moisture. Because the folds between your toes are more than just creases, they're part of the foundation that carries you through life. And at this stage, you deserve to move through your days with confidence, comfort, and pride, knowing you've cared for every part of yourself right down to the tips of your toes. Now that we've taken the time to explore some of the most commonly overlooked areas of the body, your groin, belly button, behind the ears, behind the knees, and between the toes, it's clear that good hygiene isn't just about looking clean. It's about feeling fresh, confident, and comfortable in your own skin every single day. These little folds and creases may be easy to miss, but they play a big role in how we carry ourselves, how close we feel to others, and how much ease we experience as we go about our lives. And the best part, it doesn't take hours, fancy products, or expensive routines. Just a few thoughtful moments each day. A soft cloth, warm water, gentle soap, and a bit of care can help you feel more like yourself again. You deserve that. You've earned it. Because maintaining your body with respect and tenderness isn't just self-care, it's self-honor. If this video helped you feel seen, supported, or reminded you of something important, don't forget to give it a like. Share it with someone you care about, especially a parent, grandparent, or friend who might benefit from a little guidance and encouragement. And if you've got any tips of your own, or maybe a story like George's or Carol's, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you, and your voice might just help someone else. Make sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. We're building a space where older adults can feel informed, uplifted, and never alone in the journey of aging with grace. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay fresh, stay confident, and most of all, keep taking care of yourself. You're worth every moment of it.